All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers. There's four tickers I want to cover on this one. We'll look at TMC and HYMC together in the first chapter. I want to talk about webull one more time. My goodness, on that one. And then actually Palantir. I don't talk about that one too much, but a lot of interesting news happening around Palantir with some potentially really interesting rumors. And you know I love rumors a lot more than actual news, right? So I'm definitely going to talk about the markets as well. I think we had a pretty interesting day on each of the indices, really. But I'm glad to at least say the tickers were doing well. And I sincerely regret not talking about TMC over the weekend. You can see on the 11th, like it was Friday, end of the day, right? I live on the West Coast, so that's just before the 1 p.m. bell. It looked like TMC was setting up so good on Monday right here, right? So I'll talk about this Friday candle. I'll talk about what I liked about it. And then, I rarely talk about what I hold, right? I don't really like to say what I'm buying, what I'm selling, but around 10 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. So give me 1 second. I took my bull profits and I pretty much moved it all into TMC, and I've been adding TMC all day, and I mean TMC did really really well. And if you saw it, it was actually a doji. I'm getting into the technicals way too much. This is just the opening thoughts, but TMC is real interesting for sure. All right, HYMC is another one, and really they're both kind of in that mining world. So I think the fact that they're kind of sector related makes some good sense to put this one in here. And really, this is a nice setup right here. This is almost the Friday setup I liked on TMC that brought us to really nice Monday, right? So I think this is well worth some eyes. Taking a look at bull, my goodness, if you watched my video over the weekend, the one thing I said was this thing is very bullish as long as it doesn't go below 21. It never came anywhere near 21 and then just kind of kept going from there, right? So we'll talk about what happened today. I will give you my educated thoughts for what I think will happen tomorrow. I do see it is going up after hours right now. I need more important numbers to break than just that. I know that's a pretty decent after hours bump right there, but yeah, I will talk about what my expectations are for tomorrow, right? And then lastly, Palantir, PLTT, no, we can ignore that. Sometimes typos bring really good tickers to look at. Palantir, very interesting gap up, right? We closed Friday down here at 88 something. We actually open all the way up here at 95 something, right? So big gap up right there. It doesn't really close up there. You can see we actually do close under the 50 moving average, right? But man, the NATO news, which again I will talk about shortly. I also was talking about Palantir over the weekend. Yeah, over the weekend I think on the Discord. So I heard, again, let me know if this is not real, but I heard there was a $5 billion military consulting termination. Okay, a bunch of different contracts. I don't think it was just with one specific someone, but about $5 billion of consulting dollars were terminated. There were rumors that maybe Palantir will get like 3 billion and we'll still be saving a little more than 2 billion by doing this, right? It looks like there's a bit of a connection between Palantir and the Trump administration at the bare minimum. JD Vance is what I was hearing. I called them homies. I think in the professional world they'll probably call themselves something else, but you get it, right? So I have no idea how legitimate this is, but I said all this over the weekend, and then like I said, there was a pretty interesting NATO contract today. I don't think they're connected, but like I said, I think it's just interesting that it's all kind of happening together, right? So that's my opening thoughts on these. And hey, look, really quickly, all right? I was expecting more on NASDAQ. Okay, the one thing that I loved, look, we closed down here at 16,700 on Friday. We actually gap up and open all the way above 17,120. All right, we then obviously closed down here, right? But it looked like we were going to gap up and go over the 20. That really was what I was hoping for. All right, we're still under the 8 and the 20, obviously, and believe me, we gotta get back over that 8 moving average by tomorrow. All right, I think 17,250 is still gonna be that magic number. I like the gap up. I'm a little disappointed in where we dropped down. Obviously, it looks like a good green day. 0.64 is a real nice percentage actually on the NASDAQ, but that candle is actually a lot more disappointing to me than it looks. Same thing with the S&P 500. We closed down here, we gap up all the way here, end up closing just a little bit lower. Look, that's a pretty nice doji right there, and I think this makes it this makes it look a little nicer than it did on the Nasdaq. Nasdaq kind of looked like it hit, rejected, and dropped. This one's kind of saying, hey, I'm still making my way up, right? But we haven't confirmed the 8 moving average just yet, and we're definitely still below the biggest candle to the left right now, right? And then winding it down, Dow Jones, the picture textbook doji, excuse me, right? So all three are kind of saying the same thing, but I think overall, I was expecting more on all three. You know what I mean? So one more time, if they look good tomorrow, if they look like they're going to go over the 20 and head to the 50, hell yeah, we're going to attack and let's do some good things. If they start to slip and head below or near the 8, oh man, that's where I'm going to be a little concerned, all right? So cool. I think that's about it. I think we'll get into the intro right here. So before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So, look, I never try to pimp my, videos or my links or stuff. But hey, the Discord is free. There's a link in the comments. Oh man, I had eyes on TMC. Truth be told, I mean, I would have to go back a long time, but we've been looking at TMC since the election, and you can kind of see that it does take off very much there. It didn't really do it in the November results, but yeah, once he came into the office, drill baby drill is more than just oil. You know, and I think that a lot of people focused when Trump said drill baby drill on oil. Believe me, I did it too, right? That was the first thing I was thinking about. But TMC drills baby drills as well, right? They're just drilling for minerals instead of, instead of oil. I think nickel is this company's main thing, but I know it's undersea stuff. More, you can tell, I don't know a lot about it, but I know this company drills. And one thing I talked about today, there is a connection between the CEO of TMC. Wow, too many 3 letters right there. The TMC CEO has a connection with Trump. I do remember talking about that when that election time hit. So in a lot of ways, this thing has just been doing the job since the election window. All right. When we look at HYMC, I don't know if it's done the same during that window. I mean, I would say not as consistently, that's for sure. But a big difference is also the volume, right? Let's take a look at TMC real quick. Where are you on most days? This thing's normally down here in the 4 million range. HYMC, you can see, is basically 10% of that, right? It's normally down here in the 300-ish range, right? So I think TMC was able to do a lot more with the volume, and I think that volume is king, right? Volume is queen for the ladies watching this. So just as a whole, drill baby drill. I just wanted to set that precedent right there. I really liked these 3 candles, all right? And truth be told, if you watched my market video over the weekend, I was expecting a nice moment of trading, right? I kept saying the eye of the storm, the eye of the storm. So I started looking for good channels. I started looking for either a nice gap between a couple moving averages, or like TMC, something that was actually trying to escape all five and maybe fly, right? I was ignoring the MACD and RSI last couple of weeks, but hey, that was a good, again, you got to ignore today's big pop, right? But even on this day, you can see it was green over red on the MACD and the RSI. RSI was a very healthy 57 if you're looking in the box over there. And yeah, it started to feel like TMC, if the market did well, this thing can go, right? So when the market, and I think we can see it on the 15-minute chart. Yeah, we talked about it, right? Because Nasdaq definitely does the gap up in the first hour, right? S&P 500 definitely does the gap up in the first hour, right? This is the 15-minute chart, but you get it. TMC does it as well, right? If the markets do well, so will little stocks. TMC was able to hold it. And then again, if you look at my timing, right, I kept saying I'm adding right here 10, 11, 12, 130 right there. That's around the 230 mark right there. Between that 1 and 2 especially, and really it was a lot of this, I was just building and building and building and building. And then eventually it went, you can see eventually volume came, and oh my goodness, it was a beautiful day here on TMC, right? Again, a big part of why I liked it today is volume. All right. And it's easy to talk about the daily one, but look at this weekly. Today is the first single day in the week. This is also a short trading week, right? All of 2025 starts in this view right here. Monday alone, today by itself, has been the third biggest week of the year in terms of volume, right? This one and this one are the two bigger ones. Look, I don't know if this candle is going to finish green by Friday, but I do know there's no such thing as negative volume, right? Like this volume will at the bare mid, like if it decides to get zero volume because it halts from Tuesday till the end of the week, at the minimum, we're going to get zero and it's going to stay as the third biggest, right? It doesn't need a lot more to become the second biggest, right? And then it's actually very realistic for this to become the biggest week of this year, right? When we look at the daily, the last time we had anything substantially close to this was this single little blimp right here in 2023. And then as you zoom out before it really was these really early 2022 peaks, right? So volume was there on the daily, volume was there on the weekly. And I mean, I'm not here to get overly excited, but there's a lot of red that could be a really silly green right there. And if this drill baby drill thing happens, there's a lot of mineral stockpiling rumors that are coming about. There's some stuff happening. Look, I see it going up a little bit after hours. Personally, I care less about that and more about the fact that it's not tanking after hours, right? Normally, if you gain a 40% on a stock that kind of doesn't really run like that, you'll lose 20% after hours instead of actually going up. So a lot to love on this TMC chart. Look, HYMC, I think the substantial difference is volume. All right, let alone today was a crazy volume, right? But on an average day, TMC is 4 million. On an average day, this one's 400,000, and actually 400,000 is a little bit high of a number, right? So volume isn't apples to apples, but again, this is a mining company. Drill baby drill does still like matter here, you know what I mean? And ultimately, I think this is a decent setup. This is a nice bounce on two very strong, the last ones, the two very strong moving averages. This is a nice attempt at breaking all, and like I said, that's actually what this kind of looked like before it popped today, right? So I'm not necessarily going to imply it's going to do the same thing, but it is setting up for it, right? So I'll draw some lines on both stocks because I don't think I have them. What's your 50%? Yeah, I like that because you can see half of that is kind of the top of that. Looks like it's the top of that and a couple bottoms. 338. I think that's a really big number. If this thing can get over 340, I mean, you can see it. There's a lot of green, red, green, red, and nothing. This can easily come to 4 after that. You know what I mean? Otherwise, if this can't get over the 20, I could see it kind of maybe losing today, and I can see it coming back down to 316, 315 right there, right? So the setup is there, and I think both of them, like I said, it's driven on these mineral rumors. Look, I know I don't have any more lines up here, and the crazy thing is there aren't a lot more educated lines I can draw, right? I got to zoom in a little bit. Give me a sec. So what's your 50%? It's kind of the bottom of that. Really, that's still a little too high. That's probably a little closer to that. All right, I don't even think I would use 296 though. Give me a sec. Sorry, I'm trying to get like half of that, maybe the bottom of that. One more try. Oh, it's not. 325. I'll do 325. I think that's going to be my next line up. Remember that 295, it was basically 3 flat. I think between 3 and 325, those are kind of our next two lines. Look, if it breaks 325, the next line after that will be 390. It will be very difficult to break 390, okay? Because believe me, I see that red, red, red that very easily makes me want to think 10 bucks. Trust me, I'm human, I'm greedy as the next person, all right? The gap fill border, and I know it's not quite a real hard gap fill, but that's going to be a tough line to break, all right? But yeah, right now the path is there for this thing to get into the threes and then really get over the threes after that, right? So um, RSI isn't crazy. RSI is only a 74. You know, I'm here to ring the alarm at 80. That MACD is looking nice in the positive. I think ultimately it's going to come down to volume. All right. We need about 14 million shares. I went with the easy math right there. In a 7-hour day, we need at least 2 million shares every hour. All right. If we can get at least that, I don't expect a crazy crash here. We really got to get a little bit more than like 3, 4 million shares, right? Because that'll take us into that like 28 million ish range and actually get us over what we got today. And oh, that would be really nice, right? 7, 14, 21, 28. I did my math well. Cool. I went a little longer on these ones, but let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Even if you disagree, let's come into webull. What an amazing day here. All right. I woke up real early. Oh my gosh, I'm not here to tell you what I do with my money. You know that, but it was a good day here. And honestly, I completely missed this IPO. I am so thankful for the team that we are building here, right? So, if you watched my video over the weekend, and look again, it's all good. Let's just keep going. If you watched my video over the weekend, there was really two main things I emphasized. All right, it was this 21 line, and it was the 15-minute chart. All right, I think a real let me just let bias level. Like I don't want to sound biased, unbiased. By no means do I think any time frame is better than it. I live in 30-minute and 1 hour meetings, right? Like I don't do this full time. This is a very, very fun hobby that I get to pay for some cool vacations every now and then, right? I'm very comfortable in this 15-minute chart because again, I know I might be in a call for 30 minutes and I can't click buy or sell as freely as I'd like to, right? So that's really why I'm comfortable here. But believe me, you could have done this on there are an infinite amount of time frames, and whatever you're comfortable with would do it, right? So on the daily, the one thing I said was, hey, let's not lose 21 basically flat, right? Unfortunately, this system isn't the best at connecting post market, so you can't really see that after hours that really drove to that number. But I think the real emphasizing point is we never even came close to testing it. Oh, shit. What was that? I have no idea what that was. I think that was my kitty. We're all good over here. Don't worry. So the fact that we never came even close to it, I think was a pretty nice way to start this thing, right? From there, look, I mean, it's the same rules we talk about. Well, first off, I think let's just talk a little more like fundamental technicals, right? Nasdaq on the 15-minute chart gaps up, right? It started down here on Friday, and then it starts up here right there, right? S&P 500 does that same gap up, right? From there, all webull was going to do is the exact same gap up, right? When the markets are good, it's real easy for stocks to do the same thing, all right? From there, volume is king, right? Volume is queen for my ladies watching this. Volume just kept getting better and better and better. And hey, obviously it plateaus a little bit. That's why we stopped going from this crazy rocket to this a little bit more flattened out, right? But when you can gap up with index momentum, and then continue it with your own individual volume momentum, oh man, amazing things are going to happen right here, right? And it was just, it really was a lot of talking about bull on the Discord today. I know I was wrong near the end of the day, actually. I thought that this $69 wall was actually going to break. It really didn't. One thing that I know I mentioned, it's game over under $53 for bull. As I look after hours right now, we're kind of testing that a little bit. All right. And again, I think that was based on the 15-minute. No, it wasn't. Maybe the hour. You know what? Again, I move my money on something I call the 1 and the 2, right? So maybe it was on those time frames on a slightly different stack. But look, I'm going to say it one more time. If this loses $53, it is game over. All right. So there are only a couple educated lines I can actually draw. No, sorry, not put. Let's go regular. Let's the finish candle. So what? That's about half right there. So if we lose 53, I think it will fall to 42. If we lose 42, I think it's going to fall to 27. All right. So in a lot of ways, we for sure cannot lose 42 right there. If this can get over here, from there, let's do this. I don't need to draw a new line. What I need to do is move this up. That's our new golden line right there. If this can get over that, we're going to go there, and then I'm going to go ahead and move this right here. I'll still leave this just because I know this is an important line that I did draw nicely. Again, I don't want to say I know, right? Everything's kind of subjective, and I'm not trying to make myself sound better than I am, right? But I'm going to delete it. You know what? This makes no sense. There's no technical reason to be there. If we lose 27, I think we'll hit worse than 21. So these are our 3 lines right here. You break 63, and just like it did today, look, this is just a wick. I know people do draw lines on wicks, but I don't. There's no educated resistance I can draw above that line. Right? If you lose this, there really is no support. Not even that, in all honesty. Not even that. Not even that. I don't like red candles, right? So I think the last educated thing I can really say is volume. All right? We for sure, 5 million shares would be 35 million shares, right? In a 7-hour day. So we need 5.5, maybe 6 million shares per hour. If we can get that, that'll actually put us into 42 million. And that would be a lot nicer than today's 36, right? But we need to be between 5 and 6 million shares, right, every hour for this to actually have a chance to break our golden line and continue up, all right? Let's go into post-market real quick just to see what it looks like. 50, okay. I think immediately you can't lose 57. That's probably where I got my 53 from, the bottom of this and the top of that. I think if you lose 57, you're going to come to 53. If you lose 53, you will quickly come to 42. And then that's something it looks like right there. No, I think those are good thoughts for bull right there. All right. Let me know your thoughts. Look, I'm going to say this one more. I like webull. The first thing I do before I kiss my wife, before I go to the restroom, literally the first thing I do every single morning, sometimes on the weekends because I'm that addicted to this stuff, I look at webull. I look at my watch list. I look at the market. I look at everything on webull. Sometimes I do it, then go back to bed, then wake up again and look at it again and start that pattern. I like webull. I use webull. I'm still looking at this as 4 random letters, BULL, right? I'm not here to fall in love with a stock. I'm here for the momentum. I will hit eject when appropriate, all right? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Last one I want to talk about today is Palantir. And look, again, in so many ways, man, Palantir is a 401k level stock, all right? That's a US thing for my international people, right? This is a blue chip now. This is not just a US government company, this is a global government company. And I know there's a lot of budget cuts that are easy to talk about. There are no deeper pockets than military companies, governments, militaries, right? That's an endless PO, it's an endless purchase order, it's an endless blank check, and I mean everything's expensive, right? So for Palantir to make itself as an established government military company, and not just US but global, oh man, this thing puts itself on a different level. All right. I mentioned Palantir over the weekend, and there was some news today. So the first thing was not really Palantir specific. What was said was there was a $5.3 billion termination of consulting contracts. All right. So again, there are a bunch of consulting companies in the corporate world. I know they charge crazy millions, right? So I can only imagine it becomes crazier when you're talking about, again, deep military pockets, right? So if you terminate 5 billion, maybe you can give a company 3 billion and still save a little bit more than 2 billion, right? And still look like a hero. One guess, and obviously that 3 billion is a made up number too, like, right? These are made up numbers, but the guess is you give Palantir a little bit less than what you cut and you still save, right? There's a lot of assumptions in that, but it sounds like Vance and Peter are kind of homies. Vance is the vice president, and then Peter is the founder. I don't know if he's actually the CEO or not, but he is the founder of Palantir, right? And he is part of the PayPal mafia. We talk about the PayPal mafia so many times. I call it the PayPal army sometimes. There we go. PayPal Mafia, PayPal Mafia. There's a bunch. There's a bunch. PayPal Phenomena. I'm telling you, I like the PayPal army. You don't mess with them, and he is definitely near the top of that army, the head count, right? So, with that today, there was a nice little interesting bit of news with NATO buying a contract. Again, I think to me, all that really does is just help solidify how much of a global monster and juggernaut this thing is, right? That's really what made Amazon go next level, right? When you're able to do all these things for the US, that's one thing, but when you become this like global juggernaut doing the same thing here and the same thing there, here or there, here or there, oh, McDonald, right? Like it takes things to the next level. So look, I wish the candle was a little better, believe me when I say that, but I'm in shock. I'm in shock that as the NASDAQ lost and continued to drop below all five moving averages on that daily. Let's even go to the weekly real quick. On the weekly, this thing goes all the way below the 100, almost kissing the 200, right? S&P 500 goes below the 100, right? S&P 500 loses all five and goes down, down, down on the daily. Palantir never does that. Palantir holds well above the 200 moving average on the daily. Palantir never lost the 8 and the 20 on the weekly, right? So to me, look, I always say it. When the index is bad, when the indices are all bad, it's hard for individual stocks to do well. Nothing I say is black and white, set in stone, and there's always outliers to anything, right? On the way up and on the way down. But the fact that this has been so significantly stronger than the indices, what am I supposed to do but say, man, that's some strength right there, right? So there's a lot to like, and I think more than anything, there's just a lot to like long term. I'm here to talk about daily and weekly and kind of shorter term swings, right? Palantir, man, it's hard to unload. It's hard to do anything but buy. And again, I'm not here to tell you buy, sell, hold, or any of that, right? But Palantir is next level. It just is. On the technical side, doing significantly better in the indices. And then again, I'm not a fundamental guy, but when you can do this here and then you do it there, and there is literally everywhere else on the globe. Like, think about McDonald's, right? Like, they're making those same burgers everywhere in the world, and that's when you become this just global Coca-Cola, right? All of it, right? Palantir, same bucket. It really is. All right. So in terms of technicals, let's at least give some targets. It looks like that's going to be the next target right there if we head on up. I think 1010 is very realistic, probably the money line being what we tested today. I think if we can break 95 really well, it'll maybe you can even just use 96 as the money line. It should go to 110. I think for now, I would say 86 is probably the lowest this is going to go. Really, I think the safer number to say was probably 83. It should be really hard to lose all three of these, but I think the 8 and the 20 just being right there and kind of in the middle, that 85 something, 86, I think that should be pretty difficult to lose, with 83 being the next number after that, all right? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so, so much.